them to get sick from within our farm salmon. It's very, very dangerous.
And Maureen was saying that she was asking you, is there any kind of good farm fish? And, and I brought up farm tilapia in Utah. They got tanks there for tilapia?
Yeah, well, as far as I'm concerned, yeah, eat the stuff on land, but I would check into it. I mean, now that I've looked into the health story behind farm salmon, it's devastating.
Yeah.
I mean, the levels of toxins in farm salmon are enormous.
Wherever they're farmed, whether it's on land or in the water.
Well, I don't know, because I'm not researching farm salmon. I'm just researching their impact on wild fish. So you'd have to do that research yourself. But the land-based agriculture, sure, take the waste of the fish, you grow a vegetable crop, you got your fish. I believe there's a way to do it. But these companies are getting away with, they never shovel their manure. It all goes into our ocean. It's all sitting there on the manure.
Yeah.
They've been licensed to use diseased fish. The federal government now says it's up to the vet, the company vet, whether they put diseased fish in it. This kind of thing is going to devastate our coast and our wild salmon.
I've got these here too.
That's rare.
They're up this far?
Oh, yeah, that's really good.
I need two more.
Okay, two more.
One more. Yeah.
One more now.
Yeah. I'm going to give you for your daughter. My sons, two sons. Yeah.
Okay. There's some more stuff.
Yeah, that's great. Okay.
Thank you.
Spread the word, please.
I will certainly.
Thank you.
I'm so devastated that Harper
When do we deal with that?
It's yours
and the companies are scrambling to buying equipment. They're clearly ramping up their and I'm in court right now trying to prevent them from using diseased fish. Right now they all have a license to use diseased fish. It's unforgivable.
It just makes you wonder how they regard just ordinary citizens, allowing this to happen to
Yeah,
know?
I know. Okay, for sure.
What this is, plain one. We want you to fill that out and tell these people here, not just everybody here, but tell them. We don't want you to, as a couple. Well,
Since I'm here now, what I'll do is I'll just
there's this thing here. It's just a comment card. You can sign it if you want. You can put your name on it because they do have a comment card section where you can get a pen and write something. Yeah, but it's up to yourself if you want to do that. Here's some more information.
Ammunition.
Yeah, and that there. And I think I got one more here. Yeah, and that's about it.
and why are you here? I'm here as an educator or as an informer. I look around this parking lot and I see hundreds and hundreds of cars, and I just wonder how many people know about the downside of farm salmon. So I've taken it upon myself. This is my new hobby, and I'm going to be doing this until we get the fish farms at least out of the ocean. And that's one of the reasons that I'm here.
What's the major downside for you?
All the pathogens, all the sea lice, all the lies that go on about how good it is for. I mean, look at this pamphlet here. They're actually promoting farm salmon for pregnant women and children, which to me is pretty disgusting. I'm also disappointed in our governments. I've been in this country for 50 years. I've never seen such bad governance in all my life.
Yeah, I thought I read
both provincially and federally. It depresses me. So the only way I can fight my anger and my depression is to get out here and try and educate people about the downside. We want our wild salmon back.
Good, thanks. Would you be interested in saying that again?
I said you should really get a picture of Alexandra Morton because she deserves the Order of Canada for all she's done single-handedly to try to protect our wild salmon on our coast. And she's been at it for a very long time, but not enough Canadians know about her.
Okay, you got me.
One person at a time.
One person. Thank you.
Thank you. If you take that, if you're inside and find a pen, this is for the store.
Yeah, it's just,
Tell them, we're telling the public here, we'd just like you to go and tell the store, please do not sell farm salmon.
Exactly.
Why are you here today?
To help the public learn more about farm salmon in a time when there's almost no public discourse on these matters.
What do you want them to learn?
About the contaminants in farm salmon and the expansion of the fish farms at the moment by the federal government with no consultation anywhere. A spring announcement. And to get the Norwegian farm salmon out of BC's waters.
Why do you think they're expanding? Why is the government letting them expand?
Can only be one reason.
In light of the Cohen Commission.
Can only be one reason. They don't care about the Cohen Commission. They are only concerned about their rich friends making dollars. That trumps everything. Corporate government.
Why are you here?
I am here to offer my support for wild salmon and our coast.
What do you think about the recent announcement by government to open up more fish farms?
I think the announcement by Harper's government, or lack of government, it flies in the face of all logic. It flies in the face of science. It's highly disrespectful to the $26 million Cohen inquiry that recognized the problems that farm salmon pose to the BC coast and to our wild salmon stocks. And you know, the taxpayer paid $26 million for this this big inquiry, and you know, the federal government took down the website, has, you know, scrapped all the science, ignored all the science, and ignored the will of the people on this coastline to protect our wild salmon stocks that are so dear to us and provide so much for us sustainably, and they offer excellent food value. And here he's allowing this Norwegian-owned industry that is world known for, you know, for having so many problems, and it's just disgusting, you know.
What do you think about the fact that we have to pay for the fish when they have to cull them in the farms?
That's despicable. That is just, it is pathologically criminal in my mind that it just goes on and on and on. You know, I've read the reports that it probably exceeds $100 million a year that Canadians have to pay out of our own pockets to cover the neglect, the negligence, and poor farming practices of an industry that is leaching the oceans of food, and they're just, it's just mind-boggling.
Why do you think our government's allowing this to happen?
Well, I think it's gone beyond, you know, just like, oops, we made a mistake. You know, like, it just continues and on and on and on, and it's all, these decisions are always the opposite of what science is telling us to do on how to manage our oceans and how to deal with our coastline and our marine environments. It just seems to me that wild salmon are extremely inconvenient for Harper's friends in the oil industry. You know, like, for a long time, wild salmon have had legal rights to have healthy habitat and healthy, clean water to survive. And, you know, that's when pipelines and tankers and LNG and everything else that's fossil fuel related needs or wants access to our water so that they can do business and pollute, wild salmon have always stood in the way, and Harper has scrapped that. You know, it just seems that wild salmon are inconvenient for industry, and the best thing to do is just keep attacking them with pathogens and diseases and pollution, and once they're gone, sadly, there'll probably be a lot of big fossil fuel industry people applauding and happy. It just, when you look at all the stats and the facts over the years, that's the easy conclusion for one to draw.
Why am I here? I'm here for British Columbia. I'm here for Canada. I'm here to inform people about what's going on with the federal government, fish farm companies that are sleeping together and bringing some disastrous consequence to our coast, and people just don't get it. They have to wake up.
What do you think about the new announcement?
The new announcement regarding the expansion of fish farms is devastating. I can't believe that the Cohen Commission, that one of the recommendations, or none of the 75 recommendations said anything about expanding fish farms. It said of anything is maybe decreasing the amount of fish farms, especially on the migration route of the fish. So $26 million of Canadian taxpayers' money was shelved and just thrown out. It was completely ignored. No consideration whatsoever for the Cohen Commission report that was put out over a year ago. There's just the wild salmon policies being ignored. This current government and past governments as well, but this one takes the icing off the cake. They're hell bent on wiping out our fish.
What do you think about the fact that we're actually paying for the fish, buy the fish when they cull $30 a fish?
Taxpayers' money going to fish farming industry for compensation and for their crop failing, which is their fish, is ridiculous. How can we be funding these farms when it's a failed business plan? It's a bad business idea. The government would not give you money to open up a store that's guaranteed to fail, and it's ridiculous. I don't know how else to describe it. Giving Canadian taxpayers money to the fish farm industry is actually funding the Norwegian government, because the fish farms are owned by the Norwegian government. So we're actually giving them money of our money to their country so they can run their infrastructure. I mean, it's ridiculous.
What do you think about Superstore selling fish farm fish?
I think Superstore, up the chain of command, from managers to district managers to the head office, have to be informed and realize what they're selling to their clients, because they want to sell good, wholesome food. I don't think they want to, if they knew the honest truth about the hazards to your health of the fish and the hazards to the environment, I think it would take too long for them to say, you know what, we're not selling the product. Look at Jimmy Pattison. He owns at least three grocery store chains. He does not sell any BC Atlantic Farm Salmon anymore, and that's happened in 2010, and I think it was May, maybe a little bit earlier. But he didn't even tell the public that. He just stopped selling it. So they should follow suit. They should follow like other stores are doing and stop selling the product.
And those diseases get transferred to wild salmon stocks because of the farming practices on the coast.
How they get transferred? They get separated?
Oh, they're not separated.
Are they kept separately?
Well, the salmon are raised in open feedlots on the BC coast. and usually in batches of like 500,000 to a million, all in one big cage or operation. And there's nothing separating those fish from the wild except for a cage. Now the seawater still has free flow, so when you get a large 1 million farm salmon that gets sick, and they're lethal diseases. It's not like a flu like for us. It would be like more like the bubonic plague compared to humans.
These farms will destroy what we have. They're killing the wild stocks through multiple viruses, foreign viruses. They're being bred in these closed, well, actually open cage farms, allowing pollutants, pesticides, any biohazardous products to flow freely into the channels and bays and fjords that the wild stocks reside in. It's criminal. Yeah, Stephen Harper's criminal. There's no question about it.
The farm salmon, it's got all these little bits of fat, and that's where the toxins accumulate. So would you like to tell the store manager to stop selling farm salmon? Okay. So if you would just sign your name here and put your address, we'll print it in.
Right on. Cool. I like it.
You want to do it? Want to sign it?
Well, I'm going to be out here again.
But you know what? I signed one.
Yeah, you went
There's no reason.
Yeah, sure. For sure I will.
Get your stuff selling it here?
Sure.
Okay, so
We can fill out more than one.
sign your, well, you're different from your wife, right?
I am so.
Yeah.
Sign your brother's name. Doesn't matter. Just saying.
Chili, all those guys there. Yeah. You know,
So we need to let Harper know that we're not putting up with this crap.
oh, definitely. Yeah. We should send him a whole bunch of
Farm fish.
farm
here.
fish crap.
Eat
There
it
you go.
yourself.
So that's right. Well, if you poke it, you can tell the difference from
Yes.
fresh and
Oh,
you know,
totally.
and the farm.
Yeah.
Farm is so mushy. Like, how can anybody eat that?
It's sickening.
Yeah.
It is very
No,
sickening.
it's disgusting. Even my daughter
is.
notices the difference when she finds out that there's farm fish. She's just
Yep.
like, "Ooh, I'm not eating it."
Yep.
You know.
Oh, I
So,
know. Yeah, it's
amazing.
just amazing.
Well, thank you
Yep.
very much for all your
Oh,
support.
you're welcome. You have it. 100% plus.
Awesome. And thank you very
Yes.
much.
Yeah, no
sir.
problem. Okay, you guys
Have a good
take
day.
care. Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Information packets on farm salmon.
Oh, okay.
And, to see if you look at the back there, see
Okay.
the wild salmon back. And we're also
Okay,
asking
I gotta
you-
run. Okay,
Okay.
thanks.
But yeah, see, here's a piece of paper. If you could bring this into Superstore, just
Sure.
sign it and bring it
Okay.
in. That would
Okay,
be
thanks a
great.
lot.
Thank you.
Can you tell me why you're here?
I'm here to let people know that buying farm salmon is bad for the health, bad for the environment, and also to let them know what Harper's plan was to also allow 11 more applications to go through on our BC farm, on our BC waters. And I think people should know that what Harper's doing is sick, and it's also going to cause a lot more problems for our wild population, for our environment, and they need to be aware of this. And we need to let Superstore know that continuing to sell this stuff is only encouraging the Harper government to keep producing more and more.
Oh, I'm here because I've been reading about farm salmon for about 10 years, and it seems absolutely clear to me that it puts our wild salmon at risk, and that's just not worth it. I don't understand why we proceed anywhere in this province to support and to sell farm salmon. Our wild salmon feeds not just us, but it feeds everything that is the coast, and we could so easily, with just a little bit of thinking, replace the jobs that we keep hearing about in aquaculture with tourism jobs. We know that that's there to be had. It's just a matter of the will to actually put it together.
What do you think about the Harper government opening up the coast for more fish farms?
Oh, I think it's amazing. I was truly shocked, and I think we're all pretty skeptical of governments now, but I think that was kind of a new low, and the fact that it happened as quietly as it did, and that it seemed to have happened from what I've read so far, it seemed to happen without First Nations even knowing about it. And it was in October that I understand that the federal government DFO began taking license applications, and I understand that First Nations didn't find out until about 10 days ago, and that's shocking to me, absolutely shocking.
Can I ask you a question?
Yep.
What are you doing and why are you here?
We're trying to stop people from eating farm salmon because it has chemicals in it which are bad for you, and it's basically poison.
Especially bad for kids, right?
Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you.
Welcome.
Well, I didn't know Atlantic meant farm,
the Newfoundlanders wouldn't eat salmon, their own Atlantic salmon. And I thought, well, that's just a dietary choice, and therefore that's why we get so much. So that's not the true story. So, thanks for the info.
What about, I mean, you see this, it's the open net ones. What do you think about the closed containment ones to solve kind of the environmental problem?
It definitely solves the environmental problem. I still would need it because they're eating the same food.
It's eating the same food, isn't it?
But there is brilliant aquaculture that can be done where you farm fish that eat plants and you take the waste of the fish and you grow more plants. There's people doing even aquaponics where the water goes through the plants, comes back to the fish waste goes into the plants.
Yeah, it's like a full closed system like tilapia, things like that are pretty good. But what's the solution for salmon?
I think just go with your wild stocks and, return our wild stocks because we could be doing a lot. There's a phenomenal process called genomic profiling where you can actually read the immune system of our salmon. And so if we, for example, were to sample our salmon 100-kilometer intervals, you could see exactly where their immune systems are responding to either chemicals or high water temperature or lack of food. And then you could go back and try to tweak those things.
So finding out where they had problems in their migration?
That's right, and then you can fix it and then sample them again the next year. Skip government, don't go to government and try to get them to change. You go straight to the public and say, you know what, this pipe, this farm, this plant here is the problem. I think the public would try to respond to that instead of kind of the willy-nilly, save wild salmon, let's, and never really like
you need to find the very specific
exactly what the fish's problem is. And that science exists now. It's very new, but it's very exciting. So I think we could turn these fish back on.
Yeah.
The rivers are still here.
Yeah.
The fish have colonized Chile. So if our Pacific salmon can colonize Chile, they can definitely come back to their own rivers and lakes. People eat this because they think it's healthy. They look at it, oh, it's pink, it's salmon. Those are both associated with high health values. The essential omega acids, the beautiful fillet. What they don't realize is the toxins that are in the fat, that are bound to the fat. People are eating this because they think it is healthy, but it's not. It's not like they're grabbing a bag of potato chips when they grab farm salmon. They're picking this up because they think it's healthy. They think it's good for their families. They think it's good for their children. But it's not. It's full of toxins. A Norwegian pediatrician went public last July. She risked her career to warn mothers, don't eat it. Everywhere in the world that this product is grown, wild salmon have gone into collapse. Here in British Columbia, that means whales, eagles, coastal communities, First Nations, all of us are impacted. And Harper made it very clear. The only people that can turn this around is the consumer. The consumer has the power to protect yourself from this product and to protect this coast. And that's why I'm here, to tell British Columbians to protect themselves and to protect British Columbia from these Norwegian farm salmon.